So my daughter Casey is a history major at UC San Diego, and she's graduating this year. And she's writing a senior thesis about the role of children's television and specifically Sesame Street in society. And I've been reading her work, and it's just great, and I'm so proud. And she wrote about, so I grew up watching Sesame Street, as many of you probably did. And one of the things she digs into is Mr. Hooper. And back beginning in the late 1960s through 1982, Mr. Hooper was a store owner on Sesame Street, played by the actor Will Lee. And on December 7th, 1982, the actor Will Lee dies. And the brain trust of Sesame Street decides, instead of replacing Mr. Hooper with another actor, they're going to use this to address death. And keep in mind, obviously, the audience of Sesame Street are young children. And we're going to use this moment. We're going to take this moment and we're going to address death. And I went and I looked up the video of the Sesame Street episode, and I'm just going to play a snippet of it. It's so freaking touching. Take a listen.
Big Bird, don't you remember we told you Mr. Hooper died? He's dead.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Well, I'll give it to him when he comes back.
Big Bird, Mr. Hooper's not coming back.
Why not?
And it's so insanely sad. And it starts with Big Bird having pictures that he drew of his favorite people on Sesame Street and giving them out to his friends on the show. And this actually is the picture of Mr. Hooper that he has. And it was actually drawn by the actor who portrays Big Bird, Carol Spinney. He drew this. And the way they addressed death was just remarkable, was absolutely remarkable, and so ahead of the curve and so mature, and having Big Bird process it with the adults on the show as a way of explaining it. And another thing my daughter goes into in her paper is 9/11, and after 9/11, how they addressed 9/11. And they did it by having a fire on Sesame Street and people having to respond and explain what this is, what tragedy and disaster is. It's just genius. And if there are any movements to get rid of Sesame Street, it's so invaluable. It's just so invaluable. And reading this and reading my daughter's work, it reminds you of the importance of not just Sesame Street, but Free to Be You and Me, and The Electric Company, and Schoolhouse Rock. Just big in my life, big in my daughter's life, and probably big in your children's and your childhood's life as well.